Well, the New South Wales Health Minister has met with the Health Services Union this morning as the prospect of industrial action looms over a pay rise dispute. The union is insisting on a 6% pay rise, dismissing the state government's 4% wage and 0.5% superannuation increase to all public sector workers. Joining me now live is HSU New South Wales Secretary Gerard Hayes. Thank you for your time this morning. So what was the outcome of the meeting?
So the government's come back to us today with two things. One, a $3,500 increase into people's base salary. So this isn't a one-off payment. This actually builds into a salary. That would give our members between $50,000 and $90,000, somewhere between 4 and 8.5% increase. Then on top of that, they're moving or wanting to move the salary packaging option from 50% to 60%. We're not comfortable with that. We think the two things need to happen. It needs to be at least 70% and then a time frame to get to 100%. Overall, it's a step forward. It's a negotiation which we've been seeking, and I think some of our members will do very, very well out of this option. The other important thing to note also is that we can commence our award reform for our paramedics and also allied health professionals as of next week. So we would be seeking more outcomes along those lines.
All right, so just take us through it then, because the offer on the table from the state government was 4% plus 0.5% super. The union stood firm on 6%. So where does this leave you now on this new agreement?
So this is what we will put to our members now to consider. So effectively, people on 50, 60, 70, 80, 90,000, as I mentioned, will be getting between 8.5% and 4%. On top of that, there'll be the option for salary packaging at 60%. But again, I want to meet with the government over the weekend to push that up to at least 70%, and then the time frame for 100% salary packaging, which would effectively be another $35 a week after tax in people's base salary. So we're moving in the right direction, but there's still more to do at the moment.
But just confirming, does that satisfy your expectations?
It's in the ballpark. It's better than where it was, but some of our members who are on a higher amount of pay, I'm going to be asking them in the short term to have a bit of compassion for members on lower rates of pay. This is, as I see it, a cost of living increase at the moment to address the here and now. The award reform will address the short, the medium and long term, and we would be expecting increases in those areas of anywhere between 5 and 10%.
Where does this leave the prospect of strike action? Will you still strike on Monday?
We will, in good faith, we will be pausing our industrial action on Monday. We will be contacting our members today and over the weekend for them to take some observation of what's been put before us at the moment, and they will make a determination on whether we put this proposal to a vote or indeed that we re-engage with industrial action.
Okay, but in the event then you cannot come to an outcome over the weekend, where does that leave possible industrial action?
Look, well, it's still on the cards, providing that's the call of our membership. So our members will take a view of the correspondence that we receive, and I think they will be then in a position to decide whether we do put that to a vote, whether it is good enough, or indeed that we have to continue the program that we have. But that will be entirely in the hands of the membership come Monday.
You said the other day the Premier Chris Minns should return from leave, and just to quote you, you said, this is not going to go away, this is not a war, I choose, but if you want to stare us down, do it at your peril. That's some pretty firm language that you use. Do you really think it's a war? Do you stand by that when the government has come forward in good faith today?
Absolutely, it's a war. I stand for people who are struggling to feed themselves. I spoke to a woman the other day. She said she went to the grocery store and had to decide whether buying bread or milk. So, it's all well and good for people to be able to go on holidays. It's not well and good when my members can't feed themselves. So I take this very seriously. I think it's something that has to be resolved, and it has to be resolved as a priority, and time is of the essence.
Chris Minns did promise to put an end to the industrial chaos that New South Wales has seen over the last few years. Has the relationship between the union and Labor completely deteriorated, and it's only been just over 100 days since Labor formed government?
Look, it's not deteriorated. It's a matter of working together. I've had the ability to work with other governments for the last 12 years, and while we've had our disagreements and sometimes we've been poles apart as to where we stand, we've always had a dialogue. The problem here is we've not negotiated anything up until the past 2 weeks. So we've had effectively nearly 3 months of being told that this is the situation. Now, that's what I'm not used to that over the past decade, and we will respond accordingly. But the reality is we don't want to put people in harm's way. We don't want to have people in a health setting who are uncomfortable or distressed. But the reality has to be that we need to be better in terms of industrial relations than just sort of being poles apart.
So just to confirm then, the government will put in writing now this offer. So it's $3,500 per annum boost to pays, which is then takes it above that 4%, which had been offered. I've got to ask you, given the current inflationary pressures, what would you be willing to accept?
Look, and can I be absolutely honest with you, Danica? It'll be what our members are willing to accept. I can't tell you how tough some people are doing at the moment. I know you're well aware of the stories that across the community how people are struggling. I've got some people who are at the point now of not being able to get transport to get to work. So it's a devastating situation we find ourselves in, and that's why we went hard and we went early. I got criticised for that. But if we didn't do that, we'd be at 3.5% initial offer, not 4%. Now, the 4% offer moves again at the moment. And that's because we went hard, we went early, and we've only done that due to the fact that people are not being able to put food on the table, literally. It's just not a cliche these days.
Gerard Hayes, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure, thanks.